Occasionally with vintage wedding dresses, there will be quite a bit of difference in the oxidation on it. This one had one of the sleeves far darker than the other, and I'm not exactly sure why that happens. But you can see here that the right sleeve was much, much darker than the other sleeve. This beautiful Pricilla of Boston dress has a lot of lace on it, and fortunately, I'm showing here with the magnifying glass that it was sewed on and not glued on. This is another dress that has an example of it where it is glued on, and I've learned from experience that the lace will fall off in the water when you soak it. But I don't have to worry about that with this one. So I am going to start with just a plain water soak just to get things moving. And I did that for 1 hour. And then for brightening and getting rid of that yellowing, I'm doing sodium perborate, and I'm doing 1 cup, and you dissolve that in hot water. And then I'm adding that to a tub filled with water or partially filled with water. And the hottest that my tap water gets is about 120. I think I need to bump up my water heater because I should be able to have it be warmer than that, but that's what I've been getting. So I did the 1 cup of the sodium perborate solution in here, and then I did end up doing another tea kettle's worth of hot water just to kind of bump up that temperature, because that really does help to have that sodium perborate do its job. So I put some bubble wrap on for insulation, and then a mesh rack, and then I take these containers and put some water on just to kind of keep everything weighted down. So after 4 hours, it was so much brighter, just lovely. So then I did a couple rounds of rinsing, and look at all those pretty little lace medallions. I just love that. And then let it drip for a while, and then did a little extra moisture removal with the towel roll. And in the final drying process, I put it on a mannequin, and then I did a lot of clipping and kind of coaxing down because this kind of sometimes wants to shrink up a little bit. And I did some coaxing in the back and even kind of pushing down the sleeves to kind of tie those in place while it's drying. And then I decided to work on this veil, which I hadn't even shown earlier. I absolutely love this style of veil. I've had a few of these in the past, and I think they're just so beautifully dramatic. And there's the Pricilla of Boston label, which is not present in the dress, but since the veil matches the dress, we know that they are both Pricilla of Boston. I put a black thread mark at the center of that lace and net when I took it off so that I knew where to place it back on after I was finished with this. And I did a plastic covering on my poor little mannequin there because I'm kind of wanting to brighten this up a bit. Obviously, I can't soak this piece. There's a wire frame kind of structure underneath there, and that, of course, would be prone to rusting. So I did a spray with 12% peroxide on both that headpiece and this net, which I didn't want to do a big soak on this because it gets so wrinkled, and this piece is really big. This veil has a train, so this was a very long, big trained veil. So then I stitched that back onto the headpiece, and then now I can get back to work on the dress. So it's still slightly damp, so I pressed that underskirt satin. The lace on it is so textural and kind of three-dimensional. To avoid risking kind of tearing it or, pulling at it, I kind of did more of a pressing motion instead of an ironing motion. And so that kind of just smoothed that out. And then just one by one, just worked my way around the hem. And then to address the holes that were in the net of that right underarm, I took some of the little daisy motifs from the hem on the back of the train and removed those, and you'd never even know they were gone. And then hand stitched those in place in the underarm, and then I did some more on the other underarm just to kind of balance it so that it looked like they were both original or intentional. So then next I decided to not put the buttons back on. The back ones were just decorative, and the ones on the sleeve, they're just so tiny, and it would have been so much work to button those. I'm enclosing them with the dress, but I did decide to just do snaps on there. So look at the befores and afters. Oh, it's just so satisfying to take something that just has gotten so discolored and oxidized. And like I said, the one arm was brown compared to the other one. And look at it's just a beautiful white again. I think these dresses, Pricilla of Boston really did some beautiful, elegant dresses, very nice quality dresses. And this headpiece, oh, I am such a fan of these. And this is now a gorgeous set over 50 years later.